Also been following rising tensions between the U.S. and China over new national security laws for Hong Kong. Now, Beijing is weighing in on the protests sweeping the U.S. Ramy Inocencio reports.
China's criticism of President Trump came from Beijing, from Hong Kong, and from Washington. China's ambassador to the United States, Cui Tiankai, blamed the massive pro-democracy protests last year from June to December for forcing Beijing's hand to move ahead with that new national security law. But it was China's foreign ministry spokeswoman Hua Chunying on Twitter who referenced the death of George Floyd. She tweeted a reply to the U.S. State Department spokeswoman Morgan Ortagus with just the 3 words, "I can't breathe," implying that Washington should focus on the mass protests sweeping the U.S. before criticizing China for what it's doing with Hong Kong. China is now using the protests to point out what it describes as American hypocrisy with respect to Hong Kong. Racism against ethnic minorities in the U.S. is a chronic disease of American society, said Foreign Ministry spokesman Zhao Lijian in Beijing. Now, protests have come back to the former British colony in the past few weeks over those new security laws. Thousands have turned out. Riot police used water cannon and pepper balls to control the crowds, and they arrested hundreds. Now, if and when the new legislation is officially enacted, those would ban subversion, secession, terrorism, and foreign interference. But many Hong Kongers are afraid Beijing will twist the interpretation of those new laws to chip away at their freedom of speech, press, assembly, and independent legal system. Those are protected in an agreement between the UK and China that the former British colony would be left alone until 2047. But Hong Kong fears China's heavier hand, and a new development Monday night will add only more fuel to the protest fire. Hong Kong police have objected to the annual Tiananmen Square vigil in the city this week. This would be the first time ever since June 4th, 1989, that the city will not be holding any kind of mass protest since Beijing cracked down on pro-democracy protesters 31 years ago. Hong Kong officials say that would run against social distancing rules. Ramy Inocencio, CBS News, Tokyo.